Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, it's an update on the Cotoneasters. So today I'm going to work on a couple of the trees, but it's also kind of an update work session. These are the Cotoneasters, and you can check the playlist for when I repotted these earlier this spring. And as you can see, 5 out of the 6 of them doing quite lovely. This was a critter chop, and when I discovered it, I put it on a high bench, tucked it away with another one that got a little bit attacked, which I believe might have been this one. I don't recall. I don't recall because I can't tell. But this one is not looking so good. So one of the nice things about having a critter chop is you can learn something from it. So this tree was completely defoliated by the critters. It doesn't seem to have liked to have been completely defoliated. So we can partial defoliate, we can fully defoliate trees like the Japanese maple and other varieties, deciduous trees. The Cotoneaster didn't seem to like losing all its leaves. So I don't know if this is a true 100% all the time deal, or it just was stressed out during the heat. The heat wave we had just was too much for it. So there's not much left to it. But before we throw it away, we'll trim a couple of these branches and see if there's any cambium green showing up there between the trunk, the bark in the trunk and the branches, and the hard woody substance inside. So we'll go ahead and check that one out and see if it has any life a little later on. So my thought today was to continue with the experimentation of what to do with the trees. We talk a lot about letting these grow wild to thicken up the trunk and to let them grow, cut them back, let them grow. This tree has a lot of berries on it now. There's some green berries in here. These green berries, I believe, will turn red later on in the season. But a lot of times fruiting trees and berries can take away the energy of the tree. So sometimes people take those off. So I'm going to take a look at these 5, and I'm going to trim up 2 or 3 of them, and I'm going to choose 2 of them to just let keep going. So we're going to pick between our 5 and see what we would like to do. We can clean up some of the tree, all of the tree. This one right here has got about a 6-inch growth back here that starts at the very base of the tree. We know we're not going to keep that there, but if this is the tree and it's growing back here, that's just going to thicken up the bottom of the trunk. So I'm just going to leave that on there. Now this one in front is not doing a whole lot, so maybe we cut that off. So again, I could trim some of the trees. Grew right from a cut point, right there. So these things got nice and bushy. I can pull out some of the growth that's growing in the little armpit sections here. So this one is one of the thicker ones, and it's on the round table. So let's go ahead and give this one a haircut today. We'll start with this one because it's right there ready to go. So I'm going inside. I'm going to cut all the little growth that's real close to where these branches are coming out. If I let all these little things stay right here, there'll be a big bulge right here, and there already is a little bit of a bulge right here. So we don't want to have that get bigger. Yeah, because it splits into 2 real thick up here, and there's one out here to the side. All right, so we have some messy stuff coming at us. Look at this big old branch coming right at us. Let's just take that one off. We want to see that trunk inside. Look at this guy crossing way in front here. And cut that one off. So this is all growth from this year right here, and I cut a branch that I didn't cut before. But all that growth helped thicken up everything below. I'm cutting that off so we can see more of this tree. This is all new growth this year from the cut point. So when I cut this earlier in the spring, when I repotted, there's a cut mark right there. Here's the 2 branches I left, and look, it grew right in the center of that. Since we don't want stuff coming right at us, I'll cut the lower one off now, which had a little bit of growth. Now I got these 2 to contend with. This one's still on our face, so I likely would cut that one off anyway. So down here, this long growth here, all new growth this year, coming from a branch that I left on to get longer, but it is in the front of the tree. So here's the new growth right here. Here's the old growth from last year. Another new little twig right there. Again, we're cutting that out to open up the path to inside this tree. I left them on there so I wouldn't trim too much when I repotted, and things are growing so well. Now I can go back here this time of year and I can trim up some of these undesirables. Look right down here. We have this branch that's growing right below this branch. That's how much this was growing. We don't need those little branches on there either. I will leave this one though to thicken up my trunk, because I have a little bit of reverse taper here. I'd like to see this thicker down here, so I'm going to leave this one back here to hopefully sacrificial right there. These 2 are still in my face, but there's a nice branch here that hasn't elongated too much. But if I go ahead and cut this right there now, here's the new growth from this year. This is what I left on before. We just cut it even an inch shorter. We'll see if that can pretty up this section a little bit more. So from the direct front, this is still a little bit noisy to us, but if we ever change the front just a little bit to this way, it might help a little bit. But this is that tree that has that real thick right here. Where it divides here, it's super thick up in here. So I'm really glad that that branch right there grew, so we can thicken this up for some sacrificial thickening up that trunk. This branch is still too thick and there's some branches behind it, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it even shorter. Now it's got this back here, and this over here. It's got a couple of berries here, so I'm just going to trim those off to conserve some energy and get this to continue to grow. There, so this is cleaned up tremendously. I took a whole bunch off, and we'll see what happens with this branch right here. It's going now to the left, which is more desirable. This one right here, these are both new shoots, but this one's growing up at us. I'll cut that one off and leave this one for a while. Here was the cut point before, and it back budded to here right here, so that's super nice. Kind of hides the wound. And we have a little bit better looking section right there. We got this growing really low off of this main branch back here, and then there's one up here and one down here. There's 3 new branches that grew. I could cut this old wood off and keep this younger one. This one's coming towards us, but I'll just maybe shorten it a little bit for right now. So I don't want this to thicken up too much in here, so I want to make sure I balance some of this stuff right here. And I got this and this growing at us, this growing out, 2 in the back here. I'm certainly going to take that one going straight up. I'm going to take that one off. I'm going to shorten that one. Got a couple more little berries here that I'm just going to trim off, conserve some energy. Yeah, so this branch right here has a couple of new growths. There's one here, there's a tall one back here, there's one even in the back more. So right there, we got 1, 2, 3, and these 2 up here, so a lot of growth on here. This is also growing right from this really chunky area. We're going to take that right off. We don't want this back section here to get even more robust and thick. You can see where I cut off 2 main branches before. They're actually starting to heal up a little bit. This one over here nicely. So that's the back of the tree. You don't see those scars from the front. We still may have to cut off one of these 3 branches at some point. So this is the time where I'm going to go ahead and cut this thick branch off. And now there's less energy going to this branch right here. I got this back here that can grow, and I got this up here that can grow, and this one up here. And so that's less energy going to this thick branch. Let these two guys catch up a little bit. We'll just cut off this tip here and shorten it. Let this one become the new leader. It's got some stuff growing down below, some stuff on top. And back here, we're just going to cut this off because there's this one growing back here. There's that sacrificial one now that'll get a whole bunch of light and grow up real thick and strong. This one's also going to be one that we're just going to shorten up. And there we have it. We have the basic shape of our tree now. We have a sacrificial branch that'll hopefully grow and get this thicker down here so we can thicken that trunk up so we don't have so much reverse taper. Hopefully something else will sprout out down here as well. We'll call it right there. Here we go. Tree number 1. So this was supposed to be a tree we got to in the spring, but I was able to sit down with my stepson Jake, who showed an interest in bonsai, and we got 7 of these trees originally. The Cotoneaster, this is the one we didn't plant. Now we transplanted later in the season, which is always risky. It's been transplanted now for 2 weeks and still looking good. Just give you the once around right here. I think I've had some critters chewing on one of these sides here, so we're going to keep it higher this time. But let's take a peek at some of the footage of Jake and I working on this tree. I'm going to bring it underneath this root because it's a bigger root. Okay. See how I did that? Yeah. See, it's under that root. And I have to go all the way over to this side and this side right here. Then what do you think I do with that?
Tie it together?
You don't tie it, but you...
Bend them together?
Yeah, you twist. So watch this. I'm going to cut this right there. Get the wire off. Now I'm going to hold the tree, and here's what you're going to do. You're going to go down with the pliers. You're going to grab onto these 2 wires and squeeze really tight. And you're going to twist it. You got to twist it to the right, this way.
So, like that?
Yeah. But I want you to do it. I'm going to hold the tree in place.
Okay.
While you do that twisting motion, right? So you want it to grab it a little bit higher. You can go a little bit higher, right? There, twist it tight with both hands and then twist towards the right. There you go. And what you try to do is lift up and twist. Can you pull it, here you go, pull it up to the sky and then twist. When you pull it up to the sky, it provides a gap in the wire so the wires don't fold over each other, but just get closer to the tree. And
like directly up? Or
up towards the sky and twist. The other way, twist the other way. Nope. That way. Is that the way you're going?
That's the way I was.
So up in the air, keep the pliers, use both hands so you can hold on and twist with the other one. But these are all tucked in as well. You can tuck them in. If you get some of the ones that are sticking up in the air, right there is fine. No shorter on that one. Okay. You want that to come with. So. Yeah, that one you can take off. That one's kind of go up in the air. It's kind of weird. There you go. This one, you can kind of take that one off. Right now, we can bury all this, so we're good. This tree is totally in there. It's not going anywhere. Get another scoop of soil for us. Put them on this side first. Keep going. Good. Try to get some on that side. Just go straight up and down. Oh, there you go.
That's enough?
It should be good.
Is that it?
Almost.
I only have a little bit more, so
You can put it on there. Put it on that side. Now remember your friend the chopstick?
yes.
I'm going to give you the metal one because it's actually smaller at the bottom. The chopstick, when we plant a pot, even though we wired it tight, we don't want any air pockets in there. So we do this. I'm going to have this in soil.
Get mixed?
Kind of. Can you see what the soil's doing by the... It's going in more. See how it just kind of falls into the little hole I make?
Yeah.
So you're kind of making a hole, but you're wobbling this. So the wire, then you take your fingers and you kind of push it back in. Wobble it. There you go. There you go. Try that corner. There you go. We did a good job of pushing the soil to the side when we forced it in there, so we don't have a lot of this to do. There you go. There.
Oh, don't ask me, please.
So here's the trunk, but then this one's kind of in our way. So we may want to cut some of that off. And then we have a nice branch growing this way. We have branches growing this way. You see how these two crisscross?
Yeah.
They kind of crisscross. We don't like that in bonsai. So if you were to cut one of those two off,
Yeah.
this one or this one, which one do you think you'd cut off?
Probably this one.
Right here?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the reason why is because this one's lower on the tree. This one's coming from the middle of the tree, and we don't like that because, again, it's too close to the middle. So I want you to take that scissors, or this one,
Higher.
and you know, that's another, it's called a concave cutter. You want to cut it as close to the trunk as possible. So let me show you where to place it, and I'll let you do it. Right here. You see how it kind of cradles right in there?
Yeah.
Cut it right about there. Okay. Don't get too close to the trunk for your first one because you can't undo a mistake when you cut off a branch. Right about there, cut it off.
That's good?
Yep. Now it's gone. Now you see when you look at it, it's not crisscrossing.
Oh.
We don't want crisscrossing.
So will it grow again?
It might grow a branch from there, so then what you do is you go a little bit tighter when you get better at this. Right here, you get too close, you can hurt the trunk, but now that's it. There might be another one that grows there. We'll just cut it off. It's kind of an odd, long growing one right now, which is good after the rabbits did their damage, but go ahead and cut it. And now you see that? Now it's better. You can see this tree going this way. It's not like sticking right at your
Do
face.
we eventually have to cut that one off?
We might. Let's do that later.
Because I can't really see the trunk.
Exactly. So you can cut it right now if you want.
Okay.
If you're ready to cut it, you can cut it. But you're cutting both of these off. Or just cut this one first and see if you like it. Do you want to cut this one off?
Yeah.
Use this one.
Oh,
It's going to be better. And I want you to... Oh, it goes right to the trunk. Well, then we definitely want to cut it because we have two too close to each other. So you want to get as close to the trunk as possible on that one. Right about there without cutting one. Right there. Cut it right off. And now look at it. It was super nice to work with Jake, get him a little excited about bonsai. He asked a couple times how much time we had left, so, you know, the attention span isn't, of course, as much as mine with these trees, but he does show an interest, so it's been pretty cool. This is one of the trees I think I'm going to leave alone. That's got a lot of branches in there, and I'm just going to let it keep growing out because I'm not sure what to do with this tree. I don't know if this was the front or if that was the front, but that's kind of cool as a front. So I'm just going to let this one grow out. So no work on tree number 2. We're going to set that one aside. I'm going to choose now between the 2 oval pots. Got, well, this is a little bit bigger, this one's a little bit smaller. Because this one's a little bit smaller, maybe we want that trunk to thicken up even more. I think, like I mentioned earlier, we can always do a little bit of pinching here. Some of the leaves right down by the base here are kind of clogging up the tree. So I can certainly trim that just a little bit. That was growing real close to where they connect. This one's growing in the back in a weird spot. Yeah, a lot of growth. So every section that I cut before, there are three in the tip, real close to the tip area. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So a lot of good growth. So upon looking at these trees, it's quite obvious that they backbud ferociously and new growth is everywhere. So it's one of those trees that you might want to make sure you're cleaning often as it gets older, so you're not having weird bulges. Like right here, here's the last cut right here. I left this on right here. This is new growth, and there's a third growth right there. So that can make the main growth now take off. And there's growth down here too with these 2 little berries. Yeah. Kind of a weird inside growth here, so I just cut that off right now. But let's let this one grow. It's got a thinner trunk. We want to thicken up that trunk. We're going to let this one go for a while too. So we don't want all 3 of those branches to get super thick. It's going to look kind of odd. Do we have stuff growing on the inside? We do not. But there is a branch back here trying to grow, so if we took this one off here, it would let that one grow thicker, so we would lose this whole branch right here. This one is the thickest, the bottom wood should be the thickest, so maybe we do take that one off. Then again, I got to spin the tree around. Is this the front? That is the front, because, yeah. So we have branches coming right at us. All new growth this season. These 2, all new growth this season. It's all growing from a spot where there's 2 big branches already, so we don't need any growth there. Now we can see the trunk of the tree. Again, a lot of the tips of where I cut these, there's 2, 3, even 4 branches in that area that have really taken off. So we can pick and choose which ones we want to keep. Got this real weird one crossing over this way, right here. So cut that one off. There's stuff in there trying to grow too. Got this interesting movement of a branch back here that we kept. I'm not sure why we kept that one. So right here, we cut a big chop right here. We've got 1, 2, and 3 branches right here trying to grow. This one is fine. This one's growing way towards the back. This one's growing up. But there'll be a big bulge there if we let it go. So what do I keep? This little one is clipped off. I can cut the old wound a little bit more to give it a little bit. Not sure what to do with that one yet. I don't think we want the one growing straight out in the back. So I'll cut that one off. We're going to shorten this one down to there, and maybe this will grow off this way, directional pruning. We got this big thick grouping up here. We got this big growth here with a berry. Gets real thick up here, so I'm going to cut this off right there. And I'm just going to cut these both shorter for right now. This one I can go ahead and cut shorter. This split nice into 2 back here, so I cut that off, and I'm going to cut this one that grows straight up in the air off. This back here splits into 2 super nicely, but I'm just going to shorten them to see if they continue to split this season. So again, kind of an experiment with trimming here on the Cotoneaster this time of year. I still have the 1, 2, 3, 4 branches in a row down here. There's one off to the side here, but it is every other here, here, and here. I think I'm going to cut this one shorter. Cut that big one off. So it's got this growing back here. We'll see what it does. There's also this up front here that could become a new potential something. But it's competing with this still back here. There's this one here that it's competing with. We cut that big one off. Cut this one shorter. Cut this one so it grows up instead of out, thins it out. This one back here is just super big. We're going to cut this back section off. All that's new growth, a little bit of old growth. Trimming these shorter. But now I have to make a decision. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want those to keep growing that way. I almost think I should take the trunk down to here and let this be the leader and then cut this one off. That would thin it out really a lot though. But I don't want this section right here to keep going straight and then to the left. So I think what I will do is cut that left off. Now it's going to go this way. So if this is the leader, this is facing a little bit forward, but if I cut all this down to here, this could maybe grow straight up in the air. But if that's that, what do I do with this guy right here? I will make it shorter back here again, because there's this growth back here. We'll see what it does. We'll trim it back a little bit. I'm going to cut these berries off on this one, because I want to promote this growth. Cut the berry off of that one. But I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one's super long. Shouldn't be long like that. Now that one has some movement back here. It goes back over here, and over there. Got a nice branch here coming kind of towards us though. There's some more stuff in the back, so we can go even shorter. I made this one shorter in the back. Make that one shorter in the back. This one's growing from the weird part of this branch. It makes it, this branch right here, this branch goes down and makes a 90-degree turn, but if I cut this off right there, there's a big cut off right there. That could be a cutting. But now this, it's going to go down and it's going to come back up here. So in time, that'll heal. And it's in the back of the tree, so you don't see it so much. And this guy's kind of in the way. All kinds of possibilities down with this branch. Not sure what it's going to do. So it's scraggly, but we've trimmed it up. Let's see what will happen with the second growth. And again, this might be the new leader of the tree. So I've got these leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, these branches rather. This one's the longest one and it's not at the bottom, so it's still kind of odd. It splits out here, which kind of comes at us, which again is kind of odd. I like the structure of this branch better. I just don't know which one to cut off. This one is kind of an odd duck too that we're just gonna kind of ignore for the moment. We're gonna have to see what happens with the growth pattern of this back there. It's got some crazy movement back there. There's another branch. No, that's just clipped off stuff. I don't think that one makes sense. We're cutting it off. So really gnarly back in here and thick, but we'll get some more growth on here, I'm sure. And then it'll in time heal over and look like a big old curly tree, and we'll get some ramification, we hope, huh? Yeah, that cleans up this pocket right here. Gives a little bit of an empty space right there. But there's some leaves back here growing, and we'll see what happens. So what do I do with that top section there, huh? Well, this one definitely has to be shorter. It just doesn't look right. Now we have this sharp angle here, boom, down to the bigger branch down here. But this could become a decent branch out here, maybe. So I gotta fix that. I got this whole side of the tree. It's like this tree is engulfing this tree. You can see all the roots here. This tree is like taking over this tree. So this tree could be gone someday completely, and we just use this as the bonsai right here. This one could come completely off. We'll leave it for now. There is a little bud right back here that could come up and grow there, but this one right here, kind of comes up and over and now up here, so this could become the new leader. Now there's only 3 branches, not 4. We'll just kind of see what this does now after this massive cleanup. So there we go, tree number 3. And so the last tree, and I believe that must be the front right there. Let's just go ahead and get this one that's coming right at the camera out of there. You can see we got all these little, almost suckers if you will, just really trying to do some growth down here. This is really low primary branch over here. But I kind of liked the low hanging branch before. This one will be too low though, so we'll cut that off. This could come entirely off someday. Again, thickening up the trunk. These kind of grow a little bit up at us. That's where I cut it, so that's where now a lot of new growth is. Scissors is down, there you have it. And tree number 5. And we didn't touch tree number 6 because that's the rabbits did it for us. Let's bring that back up real quick. So we'll wrap up our prune and update today with the critter chewed one. I don't know if this was a rabbit, but I know everywhere I cut this tree this spring, we got three areas of growth. I don't know if there's any green in there. Yeah, it's looking pretty dead. That's certainly dead. That's dead. So as we cut into the tree here, we don't see any live cambium stuff here. Yeah, there's nothing even in the big trunk here. So there's never a more shocking moment when you put a tree like this in the garage and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later you're getting this long spindly growth. So I still won't necessarily throw it away quite yet. But if there's any life to it at all, now's the time to spring back to life. It's a bummer, but this is the thing about when you find something on discount. These were all $7 trees. I got 7 of them. So I was able to experiment, and one, because of the critters, not me, bit the dust. So I think we're gonna have to call this one a loss. It is pretty darn toasted. Stick in a pot, spin. All right, well there's your update for today. We got a quick peek at Jacob's tree, doing all right after a late repot. Got to be very careful with that one. The other 5 of mine are doing really good. We trimmed 3 of them and 2 of them we left completely alone. One was kind of a half and half. And This one I think is ready for the bonsai graveyard. But you know what? That's part of the bonsai world. So a quick update and a quick little prune for you. Take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you very, very soon.